of this narrative this evening. We're proud of the work that the people of the state of California did tonight to send a powerful message to an historic president. Donald Trump is an historic president. He is the most historically unpopular president in modern history. In every critical category, Donald Trump is underwater.
Bueno, señores, lo que pasó el día de ayer contra Donald Trump es algo histórico. Los demócratas ganaron estas elecciones estatales arrasando, una victoria aplastante. Donald Trump tuvo una de las noches más humillantes en estos meses de su presidencia. Y claro, en lugar de quedarse callado, ponerse a reflexionar, aceptar la derrota, hizo lo que siempre hace: correr a Truth Social, a desahogarse como un adolescente con rabia. Y ojo amigos, porque los resultados de las elecciones fueron un golpe directo al ego del presidente y a todo el movimiento MAGA. Y sin duda alguna lo sintió. Pues bueno, Donald Trump estaba completamente fuera de control. Mientras los demócratas estaban celebrando esta victoria en casi todos los niveles, hablamos desde Virginia, Nueva York, New Jersey, California, pues bueno, él se dedicó a publicar una avalancha de mensajes desesperados. Que los demócratas hicieron trampa, que las encuestas son falsas, que los medios son injustos. El clásico guión del trumpismo cuando las cosas no salen bien. Uno de sus posts más ridículos decía algo así como: los republicanos deben eliminar el filibuster, deben aprobar la reforma electoral, no más votos por correo, salvemos la Corte Suprema. O sea, básicamente, ¿no? Quiero cambiar las reglas porque estoy perdiendo. Y claro, también tuvo tiempo para presumir de aquella entrevista que tuvo en 60 minutos, diciendo que fue la más vista en años. Bueno, pues tranquilo, genio. Fue justo después de un partido de fútbol americano, ¿no? No es que exactamente te estaban viendo a ti. Más allá de los berrinches, lo importante es por qué Donald Trump perdió. El mensaje, señores, luego de meses de este segundo mandato, es muy claro. La gente está cansada, está harta de su corrupción, de su ego, de su odio, de esta incapacidad total que tiene para gobernar. Los votantes salieron a rechazar la agenda autoritaria, a rechazar las redadas ilegales de ICE, a rechazar los aranceles, las tarifas absurdas y este intento por manipular las instituciones democráticas. ¿Cuál fue el resultado? Una ola azul que le pasó por encima. Empecemos escuchando algunas palabras de la nueva gobernadora electa de Virginia, Abigail Spanberger.
My fellow Virginians, tonight we sent a message. We sent a message to every corner of the Commonwealth, a message to our neighbors and our fellow Americans across the country. We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship. We chose our Commonwealth over chaos. You all chose leadership that will focus relentlessly on what matters most: lowering costs, keeping our communities safe, and strengthening our economy for every Virginian. Leadership that will focus on problem solving, not stoking division. We chose leadership that will always put Virginia first. And Virginia, I cannot wait to get to work for you. Tonight we turned a page. We turned that page by listening to our neighbors, focusing on practical results, laying out.
Pues bueno, mientras Donald Trump se dedicaba a gritar desde su red social, los líderes demócratas estaban hablando de soluciones reales, de derechos humanos, de dignidad económica. Y claro que eso conecta, ¿no? Otra cosa que conecta muy bien es este tipo de discursos, como el que dio el nuevo alcalde demócrata de Nueva York, Zohran Mamdani.
Thank you, my friends. The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few.
Y claro, no podía faltar una de las figuras principales, Gavin Newsom. Aprovechó la noche para mandar un mensaje muy claro tras lograr la aprobación de la Proposición 50. California no se arrodilla ante el fascismo.
For everybody, not just the Democratic Party, but what a night for the Democratic Party. A party that is in its ascendancy. A party that's on its toes, no longer on its heels. From coast to coast, sea to shining sea. But it was not just a victory tonight for the Democratic Party, it was a victory for the United States of America, for the people of this country and the principles that our founding fathers lived and died for. And so we're proud. We're proud here in California to be part of this narrative this evening. We're proud of the work that the people of the state of California did tonight to send a powerful message to an historic president. Donald Trump is an historic president. He is the most historically unpopular president in modern history. In every critical category, Donald Trump is underwater. He promised to make us healthier. He promised to make us wealthier. We're sicker and poorer. And he fundamentally understands that. Why else? Why else would he call Greg Abbott saying he's entitled to 5 seats? Why else is he trying to rig the midterm elections before one single vote is even cast? He understands his position at this moment in the United States of America. One thing he never counted on, though, was the state of California. Instead of agonizing over the state of our nation, we organized in an unprecedented way in a 90-day sprint. People from all over the United States of America contributed their voices and their support for this initiative. We stood tall and we stood firm in response to Donald Trump's recklessness. And tonight, after poking the bear, this bear roared with an unprecedented turnout in a special election with an extraordinary result. None of us, however, are naive. This is a pattern. This is a practice. Donald Trump's efforts to rig the midterm election continue to this day, and I'll reinforce that in just a moment. You're seeing him take action all across this country, not just in Texas. You saw what they were successfully able to do in Missouri, what they did in North Carolina, what they're trying to do in Indiana, and inevitably in Florida. They are not screwing around. In June of this year, we saw 4,000 National Guard federalized in the state of California. We saw 700 active duty Marines not sent overseas, but sent to the second largest city in the United States of America to militarize our streets. We said in June this was a preview of things to come. What more evidence do you need than what happened in Washington, D.C., what's happening up in Portland, cities like Chicago? When we kicked off this campaign just 90 or so days ago in Little Tokyo, in Southern California, in LA, at the Democracy Center, Donald Trump sent Greg Bovino. He sent his private police force that increasingly appears.
Donald Trump intentó culpar a todos, menos a sí mismo. Un clásico. Culpó a los medios, a los estados, culpó hasta a los republicanos que no fueron leales. La verdad es simple, amigos, es algo que él no quiere aceptar. El fracaso es de él. Su nombre puede no haber estado en la papeleta, como él decía, pero su legado sí estuvo. Su economía fallida, su caos político, su corrupción, su desprecio por la democracia. Todo ese combo estuvo en esa papeleta y claramente perdió. Donald Trump cada vez más aislado, es más, su propio partido empieza a dudar de él, y lo que vimos anoche no solo fue una derrota electoral, me atrevo a decir que es el principio del fin de su mito de ser invencible. Como dijo Mandani, esto no se trata solo de derrotar a Trump, se trata de construir algo mejor después de él. Ahora bien, señores, ahora que tenemos, podríamos decir que el panorama más claro, ¿no?, sobre lo que serán los próximos años, yo me pregunto, ¿hasta qué punto podrá llegar la arrogancia de Trump como para seguir dejando que millones de familias sigan sufriendo solo para mantener su postura política? Quiero que hablemos del llamado, es más, este llamado sonó hasta un grito desesperado, rogándole a Trump, el que hizo el senador demócrata Mark Warner. Prácticamente le rogó a Trump que deje de buscar atención y que simplemente, como él mismo lo dijo, se meta en la sala y negocie de una buena vez con los demócratas. Veamos esto.
I want to bring in Senator Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia. I'm sure you had a chance to listen to Hazel. She is the survivor of an abusive relationship. She has a 7-year-old son. And I wonder what you say to her, to the millions of people like Hazel who find themselves in a situation they've never thought they'd be in their lives, and they don't understand why those of you in Congress can't fix it, Senator.
Well, Hazel, whether it's Hazel in Maine or Virginians that I saw this weekend, this shutdown is hurting families. And what just kind of blows me away, literally 1 out of every 8 Americans rely on food assistance. And this administration knew these funds were there. They could have said last week, we're not going to put people through the mental, emotional, and every other kind of stress and do what they'd actually proposed in their first Trump shutdown. And it's heartbreaking. There's a level of cruelty and chaos here that it's just unprecedented. Now, that being said, I think the president, after running all around the world, needs to get in the damn room and spend an hour with Democrats, and let's get the government open. Let's get people SNAP benefits. Let's avoid what Hazel, I imagine, I don't know how Hazel gets her health care, but I bet you if she's getting health care through some of the Obamacare stuff, her health care costs are going to go up dramatically as well. I mean, we're the wealthiest country in the world. We shouldn't have 1 out of 8 of Americans potentially now going hungry and also seeing their health care costs double or triple. We are a better people than this. And this has gone on too long. And I don't know whether this president has any empathy at all. But if you get in the damn room, both sides will have to compromise. But let's get the government open, get these benefits going, and not have this health care cliff come.
You've earned a reputation as a bipartisan negotiator, and I know you said that you believe that the shutdown could end this week now that President Trump is back in the U.S. But I want to play for you, maybe you've heard it already, what he said for 60 Minutes.
You're saying your plan is to tell the Democrats to vote to end the shutdown.
Correct. Very simple.
And that you will put forward a health care plan?
No, we will work on fixing the bad health care that we have here.
But where is that
plan? And I'd be willing to work with the Democrats on it.
So he says he's willing to work with Democrats, but does that sound like someone who's really ready to go into a room and negotiate? And if not, then what? What do Democrats do for folks like Hazel and the folks you've talked to in your state?
Yeah. Well, Chris, obviously, if Donald Trump had any notions about a health care plan, he would have brought it out when he tried to kill the ACA years ago. And the thing that Chris it's hard. It's so hard is the only way you get a compromise, and I've been in every one of these bipartisan gangs, is if those members are both willing to slightly piss off their own team. And my Republican friends have candidly, for the most part, acknowledged to me they can't do anything. They can't move any bulk of members the way we've done in these past, or it was the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS bill, unless they get full sign-off from Donald Trump. I don't know what is, I know for your viewers, this will make folks mad. I want there to be a strong center-right Republican Party, but one based in principle, not a group of Trump sycophants. So that's why I've said, I hope the bipartisan talks move forward, but we got to get Trump's sign-off. And now this was the guy that was supposed to put America first. We'll put America first and resolve this. I don't think it will take more than an hour.
Maybe I'm misreading how I hear you. And Senator, I've been following you and talking to you for a very long time. You sound emotional about this, whether it is about SNAP, whether it's about health care. Can you tell me, is that motivated by the conversations you had this weekend? What did people tell you?
I still hear it's kind of remarkable, the number of people that I saw voters waiting in line to vote. We got a very important gubernatorial election, as everybody knows, tomorrow. But people saying, keep fighting, but I don't, and some of them are federal workers, but I'm also seeing, folks like Hazel. I got staff members who've gone now without a second paycheck, and many of them, they help support their own family members. This is just a level of cruelty that I wouldn't have expected from America. And I go back again, Donald Trump didn't run around the world a couple times during his first shutdown. He took the job seriously enough to say, okay, let's try to work something out. And listen, if I got to push the Democrats to make a compromise, but there are millions upon millions of Hazels everywhere across the country who are wondering how they're going to make ends meet. There are millions are saying how they're going to meet their health care costs, and there are maybe more in my state than most, but federal workers who've now gone into their savings. A number of people were saying, late 50s, early 60s, I talked over the weekend saying, I've been saving for retirement for years. I got to go into my savings now to put food on the table. Reasonable people can differ, but if we can't get to yes on this, we got to get this done. And
can you see, Senator, in your head realistically, and I know you're a realist, and again, I said it 5 minutes ago, you're somebody who has been in the room to try to push compromise, to successfully push compromise. Do you see a compromise that's possible here?
Yes, I do. I mean, there are lots of conversations going on. I think people of goodwill just got to put this down, get a vote, listen. And chances are it's not going to be, and that's the nature of a compromise. Neither side is going to get everything they've demanded going into this fight. But, the American people realize who caused this shutdown. The American people kind of get all into this process junk, but they know Trump controls the White House, Republicans control the House, Republicans control the Senate. They know the president been running around the world going after a Nobel Prize, not focusing on this issue. And they've now seen the reality of these healthcare costs go up as of this last Saturday. You've got this extra cruelty with the food benefits. And remember, our food banks are already stretched to the brink because of the big ugly bill and the cuts to Medicaid, which they put in, frankly, after next year's midterm elections. But healthcare systems are already cutting back. I can tell you, I got 3 rural healthcare centers in Augusta County that shut down because of the future Medicaid cuts. Aren't we a better country than this? Aren't we got a little bit more basic humility towards each other? And I know folks wanted to get to the elections are tomorrow. Let's get this resolved. Get the government open, get Hazel and other Americans the food assistance they need, and avoid this health care cliff that is imminent now that people can see the cost increase.
Senator Mark Warner, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And I think there is an awful lot of people watching who hope you're right about the potential for compromise. Thank you, sir.
Como les dije, señores, un grito de desesperación. Warner no solo estaba hablando por los demócratas, él está hablando por la gente común. Como lo menciona, ¿no? El caso de una mujer, una madre que ya no sabe cómo alimentar a su hijo, porque su ayuda alimentaria se detuvo con el cierre de gobierno. Donald Trump, en lugar de intentar hacer algo para resolver esto, ¿qué hizo en estas semanas? Se fue de gira, estuvo de mitin en mitin, estuvo buscando titulares, sin asumir la responsabilidad. Este tipo de comportamiento no es un liderazgo, esto es abandono. Vemos al presidente de los Estados Unidos abandonando a su gente. Es una vez más la muestra de que su prioridad no es la gente, es su imagen. Además, él menciona algo clave, y es que 1 de cada 8 estadounidenses dependen de la asistencia alimentaria. Y el gobierno de Trump sabe perfectamente que estos fondos estuvieron en riesgo antes del cierre de gobierno. Y no hizo nada. ¿Por qué? Porque no es un error político. Es una crueldad con cálculo. Como estuve viendo por ahí, se cree que esto más bien es como el trueque para los demócratas. ¿A qué me refiero? Que Donald Trump quiere acabar con el Obamacare, pero sabe que los demócratas no van a ceder fácilmente. Entonces, vamos a dar donde duele. Vamos a atacar la debilidad. Ataquemos a la gente. Hagamos que no tengan alimentos. Que los demócratas tengan que sentarse a ceder el Obamacare solo para reabrir el Congreso y para que liberen los fondos. Lo más absurdo, ¿no? Es como Trump sigue diciendo que los demócratas deberían votar y terminar el cierre. O sea, como si él no fuera el presidente de los Estados Unidos. Como si su papel fuera simplemente mirar desde el palco. Es increíble que alguien que prometió poner a Estados Unidos primero ahora sea la principal causa del sufrimiento de miles de familias estadounidenses. El cierre de gobierno no solo detiene programas y servicios, también destruye confianza. hace que la gente vea con sus propios ojos un sistema roto, donde la política importa más que la humanidad. Lo más preocupante es lo que menciona al final, afirmando que incluso los republicanos no pueden moverse, ¿no?, sin la aprobación de Trump. O sea, el Partido Republicano ya no toma decisiones por principios o por país, sino que por miedo a un solo hombre. ¿Qué opinan ustedes, amigos? ¿Creen que Trump realmente en algún momento intentó buscar una solución? ¿Será que es como les mencioné, este cierre de gobierno es un arma política? Los invito a que me dejen sus opiniones en la caja de comentarios. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarme. Recuerden, como siempre, déjame tu like, comparte el contenido y suscríbete a nuestro canal. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.